Anthony Edwards has drawn a lot of attention for not wanting to be the face of the league for the comments he made during the All-Star break. Last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves played the Los Angeles Lakers. They lost the game. After the game, LeBron James had a few things to say after the Lakers 110-102 victory about the situation with Anthony Edwards not wanting to be the face of the league. So I'm just going to read some comments LeBron had to say about this. I feel Ant. I understand. I completely understand. There's this weird energy when it comes to that. So that's what he said. I'm just going to scroll down and look at some other quotes here. All right, so I'm going to read this quote by Channing Frye because LeBron's going to refer to this quote. So that's why I'm reading it out loud. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, who, they compare them to a motherfucker that played 40 years ago, said Fry, specifically referring to the old school players Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Nobody celebrates these new people, so why the fuck will anybody want to be the face of the league when you're going to get shit on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago? It's ridiculous. It's unfair. I mean, and now I'm going to quote LeBron's referencing of Channing Frye's quote. So here's what LeBron said. He echoed the same things as Channing Frye. I mean, Channing Frye said it the other day. Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis shit on everybody? James said, it's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know. But Channing, he said it perfectly. Couldn't say it no better. And just going to read some more quotes right here. Ant said he don't want it. Obviously, I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model is all about. So I tried to hold that with the utmost respect and honor. Well, I had to say a few things about this. This was very interesting that now LeBron is speaking out on this. So where do I begin? So here it goes. I feel in LeBron's case, this man is not a victim. He's acting like he was some innocent guy, like a Tim Duncan, and that he did everything right, and that he was just a guy who played basketball and didn't do anything else, and was just a good overall guy, just a saint-like figure like Tim Duncan, when that's far from the case, very far from the case. LeBron, you wanted this. You wanted this smoke. You wanted this from day one. You wanted all this attention. I remember when you first hit the scene. I'm only a year and a half older than LeBron, so I remember when he came out in high school. I was in college at the time, but I remember the hype about some kid from Akron, Ohio. And back then, YouTube did not exist, so we couldn't see clips of him, but we would read a lot about him on the internet. There were plenty of independent NBA websites back then. I do miss that era in that regard. It was a lot of fun, a lot of creativity, with a lot of these new NBA websites sprouting up from independent sources, which was cool at the time. These guys were like the original Shams before Shams came out the underground. But anyways, I digress. But I remember all that hype. I remember reading stuff LeBron even saying when he was a junior in high school that he wanted to be the number one guy in the league, that he was a chosen one, and that he was going to be the chosen one when he came to the NBA. This man even has a tattoo saying chosen one. This guy has always been about attention from day one. That's a big flat out lie when he said that he never wanted all this. He did. He wanted to be the face of the league. He never wanted the responsibility that came with it. That's what I believe. That he never wanted to be judged at the high standard you're judged by being face of the league. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too without the judgment. He just wanted 24/7 worship and no criticism. That's what he wanted. So I think that's a big time lie by LeBron, and just he's not a victim of it. Some guys will say like, well, you're hating, but I'm saying LeBron brought this on himself. He wanted all the attention. He marketed himself to, he put himself out there. He got all the commercials from day one. Not saying that he wasn't worthy of it, but if you take on all these commercials and endorsements and you're always in front of the camera 24/7, well, then you're going to get some smoke with it. That's just how this game goes. You're not going to come out unscathed from this. That's just the reality of the situation. Now, if he was like Tim Duncan, for instance, that he hated the media, he hated the spotlight, hardly did any commercials, and just went home, did his thing. We didn't know anything about him, and people are still coming for him. They're still hating on him 24/7. Then I would have a lot of empathy for him. I would actually feel for him, but that's not the case. So he did bring this on himself. Now, is there some truth in what these other guys are saying that you're always going to be compared to Michael Jordan? I would say yes. I disagree with Kobe Bryant because honestly, Kobe Bryant was second rate to Mike, but most guys are compared to Michael Jordan when it comes to just when you're the face of the league because Jordan's like the all-time GOAT. So I get that, not liking that comparison game, not enjoying it and being frustrated with it because you're going to fall short of what Michael Jordan's achievements. Unfortunately, most people will. I think Jordan's 6 rings are going to now be the equivalent to Bill Russell's 11 rings, that it'll be impossible for anybody to reach that. At least in my lifetime, I don't think anybody will get more championships than 6 rings, or will get 7 or 8 titles or anything like that, or even possibly even tie Jordan. I think that's one of the reasons LeBron is still playing. Part of the reason is that he wants to so badly at least tie Jordan in ring count, and that's why he's trying to stretch out his 40s, trying to chase that elusive goal, which I don't think he'll get, but that's the biggest reason. However, I just don't think anybody's ever going to get the rings. I think that'll be difficult to do, and I hope no one gets to 6 or 7 rings. Not because I think Jordan's a GOAT or I want Jordan to remain the GOAT forever. I just think the league would be boring if a player was able to dominate and get like 7 or 8 rings. It would suck. Like, I have to be honest, I hate dynasties. Granted, as a kid growing up during the 90s, I did enjoy the Bulls. But if I was just older at that time, if I was a teenager instead of a kid during the first three-peat, I think I might have gotten sick of the Bulls because I remember being sick of the Kobe Shaq Lakers during their three-peat. By the time they had their three-peat, I was a young adult, and God, I hated that run. Just, it really sucked ass. But that's another story all to begin with. But so I definitely hope that never happens. But then again, you never know. There could be a player in the future that can shift the goalpost for being called the GOAT, because I remember Michael Jordan being officially called the GOAT when he had 3 titles. People were anointing him as the GOAT way back then when he won that 3rd title. So you never know. You never know. Things can change. Just the perception can change. And I definitely get guys not wanting to be the face of the league, deal with the scrutiny 24/7, which is fine and dandy. I have no problems with that, but I do have a problem when a guy gets a ton of commercials and they're always doing all these interviews and they're in a spotlight, then they hate being pushed as the face of the league. Well, you're asking for it. You're asking for that attention. It's like some girl who's dressed up like a hooker, wondering why a bunch of guys are gawking at her on the street or trying to approach her. Well, if you dress like that, you're going to get this type of attention. And I just view it the same when it comes to being this face of the league type of deal. If you're putting yourself out there, well, yeah, you're going to get it. Just no one comes out unscathed from being face of the league, I feel. Even Jordan had to deal with his lumps his first 7-8 years before he got that first title. He dealt with all the brutal criticism of not being able to win and being just a great scorer, but nothing more. So no one gets all the glory for free. It always comes at a price. You can't escape that. That if you don't want to deal with it, then maybe you shouldn't be in this game. That's all I have to say about this.